So it looked like Caitlin Clark has completely took over this year's Super Bowl, bruh.
Could you believe that Nike is finally realizing the Caitlin Clark effect and scrambling like a rookie point guard in the last seconds? Is it too late? Nike is putting all of their effort into a massive Super Bowl ad in the hopes that Clark's celebrity will save their doomed ship. But this is where things get really interesting. It's not just about shoes anymore. It's a full-court press to win back the hearts of basketball fans. Nike is placing a lot of money on women's sports, but you have to wonder why it took them so long to realize what we have been watching.
This is very interesting because none other than Caitlin Clark is currently at the Super Bowl, and we got to talk about this right here. That is Caitlin Clark getting a Super Bowl commercial.
Remember the days when Nike was the most popular brand and what everyone wanted to wear? Well, things have changed, and you won't believe how far they've fallen. Nike's reputation is suffering, and this isn't just a minor setback. We're talking about a complete collapse.
I mean, Hoka make better shoes than Nike for what they are. On's that cloud technology, dear Lord, you're not beating that. But obviously stock's gone back down, which is not great, and On's stock rose 91% because again, they just made better products. Simple as that.
It goes beyond the shoes. Customers are seeing that Nike's entire brand is losing its luster. Remember how wearing the swoosh made you feel like a champion? Now, when people look at their Nike clothing, they ask themselves, is this it? Since the quality isn't living up to the hype anymore.
Like, I do think at the end of the day, as much as people want to go about marketing is important, but if you don't make the best product, then, I mean, people are going to leave. There's only so much marketing you can do. Like, even if you make the best product, a lot of the time, you're going to be okay.
Furthermore, if you think that's awful, wait until you learn that their stock is plummeting like a rock and that investors are fleeing because Nike is unable to compete with these up-and-coming brands. It's painful to watch, but you can't turn away.
You see here, they're making a high-stakes bet in the commercial to breathe new life into a struggling brand. After losing market share to Hoka and others, the company's turned to the meteoric rise of women's sports, particularly women's basketball, to spark a comeback. I don't know why they didn't do everything they could to get Caitlin Clark literally in the door.
From problems with the product to errors in marketing, while other companies were jumping on the women's sports bandwagon, Nike has been making mistakes left and right. They were so preoccupied with their outdated playbook that they failed to notice the game-changing plays taking place right in front of them. Nike was twiddling their thumbs while seated on the sidelines.
And they're trying to basically bet that a Super Bowl ad is going to reclaim its dominance. They're paying for 90 seconds of an ad.
Nike is currently searching frantically for a lifeline. And guess what they're turning to? Women's sports, particularly one up-and-coming star called Caitlin Clark. However, the real sting is that they ought to have taken this action years ago. Although Clark has been dominating the court for some time, Nike is just now realizing how powerful she is.
But Caitlin Clark is set to get a Super Bowl commercial. 90 seconds, by the way. A 90-second Super Bowl commercial.
It's unlikely, but they're putting everything on it. Clark will appear in a huge Super Bowl commercial, hoping that her on-court charisma will translate into magic for their brand. But let's face it, this isn't just about basketball. This is Nike's last-ditch effort to remain relevant in a world where they're no longer the coolest kid on the block.
This is a really, really interesting one. Because obviously they're trying to bet big, and obviously it's not just Caitlin Clark.
Nike has been doing this with Caitlin Clark. Can you believe it? They had this basketball superstar right in front of them the entire time, and they're just now realizing what they have. You know how sometimes you have a winning lottery ticket in your pocket, but forget to cash it in?
What's great about all of this is that Nike's finally utilizing Caitlin Clark and doing everything they need to do to send everything through Caitlin Clark to where they can get some type of recognition for their brand, because we know Nike sales has been down and it's looking like they're coming to their senses and realizing, damn, we need to put our all in Caitlin. Caitlin is the way out.
We're talking about a player who is not only shattering records on the court, but also breaking viewership numbers. People are watching women's basketball like never before, and it's all thanks to Caitlin Clark. Let's examine why Clark isn't just a basketball phenomenon, but also a marketing gold mine.
Now, Caitlin Clark has not turned down any Nike situations from our understanding. It looked like she clearly appeared to be in the Super Bowl commercial, which is scheduled to come out today during the Super Bowl.
However, this is where things start to become fascinating. Nike has been ignoring women's sports for years, and now they're playing catch-up as if it were their job. You may be wondering why they didn't take action sooner. It seems like they've been ignoring the greatest sports comeback ever and are only now pressing the snooze button.
But I just think this is just so great for her and her brand. This is just so legendary for Caitlin Clark to be kind of, taking over, getting her just dues. And it's just crazy in itself, dog. I'm excited for this upcoming commercial. I think it's going to be lit.
You may be asking yourself, can one college basketball star really save a giant like Nike? Well, let's face it. Without Caitlin, nothing is happening in the world of women's sports at the moment. This isn't just hype. It comes directly from the experts. Clark is a player unlike any other. She changes the game in ways that Nike never anticipated.
We know ever since Caitlin pulled up in the women arena, there has been major development in, everything that is going on. And I'm here to tell you, this is major in itself, guys. Like with everything that is happening with women's sports as a whole, led by Caitlin Clark.
Consider it. Women's basketball is the sport that is growing in popularity. More people are playing it, more people are watching it, and brands are beginning to realize the potential. However, Nike has been like that friend who arrives at the party after everyone else has left. They arrive late to the game and now have to make up lost time.
For Caitlin Clark, who's obviously at the game, she's going to have the most superb of all the owls. Because not only is she at the game, there is a huge Nike commercial being centered around Caitlin Clark and others.
Here's the kicker, though. It's as if Nike has been sitting on a gold mine and only now realized they should start digging. Can you believe they may have lost their chance to turn things around sooner? Nike had Caitlin Clark right under their nose the entire time.
Like, you are obviously, everything sports brand is dropping, but if you're the brand that ends up catching the women's sports market, because again, there's more women than men in the world, there's an ever increasing amount of women participating in sports, it becomes a incredibly lucrative market, a super lucrative market.
Now that they've realized that Clark may be their only chance to remain relevant in a world where they're no longer the trendiest kid on the block, Nike is throwing everything at her in the hopes that her on-court magic will transfer into magic for their brand.
I went to buying Nike, was at a mall today, in New Jersey, and it was like, one side was an Adidas shop, the other side was a Nike shop. Aaliyah Boston was in the front of Adidas, AJ Wilson's in the front of Nike. Like, I don't think people realize that these brands are really trying to push women's sports, because that's how you're going to win.
Realistically speaking, though, this isn't just about basketball anymore. Nike is making a last-ditch effort to demonstrate that they are still aware of current events in the sports industry and that they can identify talent and ride the wave of the next big thing. But can they actually succeed after spending so much time with Clark?
I reckon you could have got Caitlin Clark a year ago. No, you couldn't have got Caitlin Clark, I don't think, before the WNBA season. They should have been designing that logo a year ago. They should have had 100 prototypes ready for Caitlin and being like, we've made about 100 of these for you. The reason is we want your signature shoe out this year. We want it out this year. We've got a bunch of prototypes and we want it out this year. And if nothing else, we want it before the start of next WNBA season, which I think they really should have done, because like, there's only so much you can get from having Caitlin Clark in a commercial. Like, I don't know if that's going to make people buy more Nike stuff.